Sketching Shakespeare. This is a show that we do that has a beginning and an ending. Today we are drawing Swan is drawing a scene from Cymbeline that I'm going to talk about a little bit, and then she is going to run her magic with. So if you've never joined us before, we're going to talk about all things art and Shakespeare, and I'm really excited because I am loosely directing. I'm organizing a one rehearsal production of Shakespeare's Cymbeline next Sunday in Austin. I don't ask me how it's going to be because I don't know.
It's going to be great.
I know that 3 people in this cast are 100% off book.
Yeah. And
that's all I know.
If people want to find out more information about that and the history of the production company that's putting that on, where could they go?
They could go to walkingshadowshakespeare.com.
Heck yeah. You can also buy stickers there.
You can also buy stickers there. Someone designed, man, God, I wish I could remember. It's an artist. She's pretty cool. And she does a lot more with stickers. And like, if people love stickers, where might they find this incredible art to buy?
You know, they could actually go to the Etsy shop of said artist and be able to find stickers there. I just popped that link in chat. So.
What? Yeah. So Swan designed our logo for the show and also an amazing raccoon sticker. Basically, it's the best. It's my favorite thing. So go support both of us and buy some stickers everywhere.
Yeah, more art and more Shakespeare. Yes, please.
Yes, please. Okay, so today we're going to Wales.
Okay, cool.
We're going to Wales, Swan. And
it only ever makes me think of the scene in Wayne's World where they're in front of the green screen and they're just like pretending to walk and they're just like, okay, now I'm in Wales, and Wales is playing behind them. So, okay, I'm in Wales.
You're in Wales. Okay, so we're in like a 2-part scene. I forgot I need to share my screen. I'm like reading it off like.
You're good.
Present. This is because we haven't done this in a while. Act 3, Scene 6. Okay, so in this part of the play, let's see, we'll make it as big as possible without.
Come on, Folger, cooperate.
All right, there we go, Folger. It's as good as we're gonna get. So in this play, we have Imogen, who is a princess and has been secretly married, and her dad finds out and gets super mad and banishes her husband. And then her husband goes to Italy and gets into a stupid bet with a stupid Italian and is made to believe that Imogen has been unfaithful and sends his servant to kill her. And his servant is like, I'm not going to do that, bro. And tells her to disguise herself as a boy and run away and join the Roman army. That's the first 3 acts and 5 scenes.
Completely normal reactions to things.
Right? Now, another thing that is relevant to this is that the king, Imogen's father, had 2 sons who were stolen as babies. And nobody knows where they went. Well, except us. We don't know until like act. Should maybe think of Beauty and the Beast, but we won't discover that it's them until Act 3.
Yes.
Basically. The fun thing about this play is that there are so many reveals. Like at the end of the play, it literally is like reveal after reveal after reveal. And these are your sons that I stole from you. And oh, Imogen's alive. And oh, Posthumus is also alive. It's just like so many different things that like are Jerry Springer shock value. So this is the first time Imogen is meeting her brothers.
Okay.
They have been stolen away to the Welsh countryside where they have been raised as shepherds and are just very sweet, wholesome boys. They are everything about these Welsh boys is so wholesome and sweet and good. And Imogen, in a boy's clothing, is wandering through the Welsh countryside, and that's where this scene starts.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
And this is one of the like a really underrated monologue just in all of Shakespeare. But Imogen says, I see a man's life is a tedious one. I have tired myself, and for 2 nights together have made the ground my bed. I should be sick, but that my resolution helps me. Milford, when from the mountain top Pisanio showed thee, thou wast within a ken. O Jove, I think foundations fly the wretched, such I mean where they should be relieved. 2 beggars told me I could not miss my way. Will poor folks lie that have afflictions on them, knowing 'tis a punishment or trial? No wonder when rich ones scarce tell true. To lapse in fullness is sorer than to lie for need, and is worse in kings than beggars. My dear Lord, thou art one of the false ones. Now I think on thee, my hunger's gone, but even before, I was at point to sink for food. But what is this? Here's a path to it. 'Tis some savage hold I were best not call. I dare not call. Yet famine, ere clean it overthrow nature, makes it valiant. Plenty and peace breeds cowards. Hardness never of hardiness is mother. Who's there? If anything that civil speak, if savage take or lend. Ho? No answer? Then I'll enter. Best draw my sword. If mine enemy but fear the sword like me, he'll scarcely look on it. Such a foe, good heavens. And one of the things I think is really fun in this monologue is the idea that like um the division between rich and poor and their willingness to be truthful or false, and like how 2 poor people told her that the way is right over there. Why wouldn't she believe them? They have nothing to like gain
Mhm,
from
mhm.
her. All like everyone at court, everyone who she's ever known is a whole bunch, everyone's a whole bunch of liars. And so like why wouldn't she like take the word of someone who she's never encountered, right? Like this idea of like who benefits from telling lies.
Mhm.
I think it's just a really interesting piece of this monologue. But she finds a cave, and then the Welsh boys come in, and Belarius, who's like the Welsh dad, who used to be a soldier and then stole some babies, but we ignore that important piece for because he's so wholesome. You, Polydor, have proved best woodsman and master of the feast. Cadwal and I will play the cook and servant. 'Tis our match. The sweat of industry would dry and die, but for the end it works too. Come, our stomachs will make what's homely savory. Weariness can snore upon the flint when rusty sloth finds the down pillow hard. Now peace be here, poor house that keeps thyself. I am thoroughly weary. I am weak with toil, yet strong in appetite. This is my favorite line. There is cold meat in the cave. We'll browse on that whilst what we have killed be cooked. I was just like, hey, we got a charcuterie board in our cave. Like, we're gonna snack on that. We're gonna get some apps while we make dinner.
Love
And then
that.
they see Imogen dressed as a boy lying in the cave, but that it eats our victuals. I should think it were a fairy. Um, Imogen comes in, and they have this like really interesting conversation where she offers them money for the food that she took.
Mhm.
And they're like, money, youth, all gold and silver turned to dirt. 'Tis no better reckoned than of those who worship dirty gods. Like, if you wanted to give us something helpful, you'd give us soil to grow more vegetables that you've eaten. Money doesn't matter here.
Mhm.
They've created this, isolated life where it's insulting. It's more insulting to be offered money than anything else.
Mhm.
Um, but then naturally, they are drawn to this youth and they bring him in and protect him. And I'll love you like my brother. Such a welcome as I'd give to him after long absence, such is yours. Most welcome, be sprightly, for you fall amongst friends. And so it kind of ends with like the 2 boys, like really like bringing Imogen in for a hug and being really like strongly connected to her. Even though like we know I think at this point we know as audience they are brother and sister.
Right.
And so there is this like uh invisible connection, right? This like fate that weaves them together that like nobody in the scene really understands because even Belarius doesn't know that this is the princess because she's dressed as a boy.
Right.
So there's this like everyone has a hidden identity in this scene. No one is actually who they are. No one is who they think they are or who
Right.
they say they are. And still they're like so connected and drawn together.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a really fun little scene. Because it starts so desperate from Imogen. She's so hungry and desperate and tired. And then you have this like joy of the guys returning from hunting and their nice little routine and their daily life. And then uh the antagonism of when she is snuck in their cave and stolen their food and tried to offer them money for it, that leads to this really wholesome kind of conclusion of their meeting. I know it's a lot,
Yeah. No, it's good though. I like it.
but it's a the night to the owl and morn to the lark less welcome. I think is a really sweet
It's pretty.
little line. Like, you belong here,
Yeah.
but none of them really understand why they feel like that. Swan, do you want to share your screen?
I can. Yes. Let me switch over. I have just been noodling thus far.
Mm-hmm.
I think you will. Where's my
Swan, I love your noodling. Where is there it is. Look at them! Look at them! Oh my god.
Just
those little boys.
some cute little himbo boys.
They really are.
Yeah.
And like the funny thing is that between the two of them, the older one is like um a little bit more, not like aggro, but like straightforward. The lines are very like clear cut, a little sassy. When he gets in a fight later, like he cuts Cloten's head off at the, like he's like a little bit stronger. And then the younger one is so poetic, and all of his lines are like really flowery and more emotionally charged. And so like the balance between the two of them makes for a really great duo.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I like that.
they're some of my favorite characters, and it's like just such a joy to, because they don't know.
Right.
And their fake dad is always like, man, these guys are really like they really act like princes. Gosh, one day someone's gonna find out that they are.
That's funny. So does the fake dad know? Like, was he in on the
He's the one that kidnapped them.
Okay, he's the one who kidnapped him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was like a general in the army, and somebody told Cymbeline that he betrayed him.
Mhm.
And so Cymbeline banished Belarius, even though he, didn't betray Cymbeline at all. And Belarius was so mad that he and the like nursemaid of the boys ran away with the babies
Okay.
and then raised them as a family in the Welsh cave for 16 years or whatever. So yeah.
Okay. I'm trying not to go just on the nose with this one, but I'm struggling to figure out a twist on it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
It's kind of hard, and that's I don't mean to punk you.
Hmm.
I never do. But like this real pastoral vibe of the countryside, and like it's so inherent to the scene. To me it feels like, because like they you have this hunting and you have this like weary traveler vibe, and like I wouldn't know what else to, but we talked about that this morning. Like I don't ever I I zero in on the people.
Yeah.
And the world around them might be whatever. It could be literally anything, but don't ask me to imagine it.
Okay. All right. So what I'm thinking is somehow like I really want to play up the like these boys are like there it is. Words. The absurdity of the situation. So
Yeah.
so this is 30-year-olds playing high school students. This is like clearly these two people who are these characters spend so much time at the gym. They are not actual like farmers because they don't look like farmers, but kind of that like heightened silliness of a drama, I think is where this is landing for me. So that you get to
Okay.
have like the ridiculous visuals, but it's still in a show somehow.
Okay.
All right, this is where I'm starting with. We'll see.
All right.
Just because I just love my himbo boys, so I want to figure out a way to draw them.
Honestly, like I can't say that Shakespeare needs more himbos because he's got a lot of them. I'm gonna write a book called Shakespeare's Himbos. I'm not actually.
That would be
It's
so
a lot
funny
of
though.
work.
Okay. Well, okay. So also I was really trying to figure out how I could put it into like a gym bro setting. I just don't
Sure.
know. I don't know if I can get there. I don't I don't know if I can justify it. Yeah. Cuz it's such a sweet scene. Like I don't want it
Mhm.
to be like, she took their weights or something or like worked in on a machine that they were clearly in the midst of or something.
Yeah.
But okay. This is good. It's a good.
I
All
mean,
right.
it can still have those vibes, like
Yeah. Okay.
I love those little babies. I just need that picture. Where are they now?
Where are they now?
Little babies, little curly little hair.
Just love them. Love it. Okay. All right. All right. All right. It's good.
Do you draw a lot of babies? I know it's a
Um,
weird question, but
it's
like
not. So funny recently-ish, kind of, because the episode that Mike and Anthony were on of Doodle Crew, I drew a baby
that's
for
right.
that
I
one,
remember.
which was the best part of that whole drawing. And then for a current freelance project that I'm working on, I've been drawing like younger things, but in a very simplistic way.
Okay.
So kind of like this. So yes, more recently than in any year prior.
It's funny how that kind of like happens. Like some things just like take off and it's like all of a sudden it's like confirmation bias, but
Yes.
now everyone's asking you to draw babies. Like
I
it
was like,
just like
what?
keeps popping up in ways that seem totally unrelated to others.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's usually I'll say with like something that's like a fad or something, it makes sense if it's a popular character of the time, but it's never that. It's always these weird, like random little thing. You're like, hey, this right now, this is the thing that everybody wants. All right.
Right.
But okay. So as far as Cymbeline goes and your adaptation of it, are you keeping the majority of it or did you have to make fairly big cuts to
Whew.
parts of it to to
I'm
make it
so glad you
adaptable?
asked.
Not
So
me
cutting
buying time so I can
Shakespeare,
draw.
yeah. Cutting Shakespeare is one of my favorite things to do. Doing really like purposeful editing of Shakespeare, I think is an underrated skill in the Shakespeare directing world or the Shakespeare producing world. Um, because a lot of people cut Shakespeare, but I think they're afraid to really do like the micro edits that like there are just some things that don't work in the 21st century or like some language like that just doesn't need to be there. And beyond that, I think a play like Cymbeline, and I think it's a pretty unique problem to Cymbeline. A lot of folks look at this play and it is when I say it's every plot that Shakespeare ever wrote in every other play, it's every plot. Everything that he's done, he puts in this play. And then and then some. And it really is a fairy tale and it really is something that feels quite jumbled and chaotic when you read it. And I think that a lot of it's super underproduced. People don't produce this show often because I think they just don't really know what to do with it.
Right.
And one of the things that most people will do is they cut the ensemble. So there are,
Okay.
25 characters in this play or whatever. There's first gentleman and second gentleman and first lord and second lord and Helen and Cornelius and a jailer and a second jailer and a first brother and a second brother and a first senator and a second senator. There's like doubles of everything, right? And I think what people do is they get overwhelmed by all of that and they say, okay, no, like this play is Imogen and Posthumus and Iachimo and the King and the Queen and Cloten and the Welsh trio and the Roman general or whatever. And this like 12 people is that's all we're going to have in this show. And so they cut all of those extra characters, quote unquote extra, right? And then nobody understands what's going on in the play because all of those extra characters are the ones that say, "Oh man, it's so weird that Imogen just married Posthumus and the king came and interrupted it all, and the queen's really angry because she wants Imogen to marry her son so that he can be king." Huh? Isn't that weird? Audience,
I love
isn't
those
that weird?
characters. I love those characters so much.
It's exactly what he says. And then later on, the doctor comes in and is like, "Oh man, like, ah, shoot. I guess I shouldn't have given the queen all of those poisons that turn someone to almost dead, but then they come back to life. Wouldn't it be wild if somebody took that?" Somebody took that, right? And so cutting all of these characters takes away all of the explanation and the exposition of the plot. So no wonder the audience is lost.
Right.
Because you expect them to like follow along? No.
Please don't expect that of us. We're so
No,
lost.
I would never. I would never. And so like it's a lot of you do have to uh what's the word I'm trying to like condense them.
Mhm.
Like if you only have 12 actors or 15 actors or whatever, you can make first gentleman and first lord and first jailer and first senator the same person or whatever.
Right.
Like you can make it the same actor, but you can't really cut all of those lines because they make the things make sense that the
Right.
leads, quote unquote, are doing. So what I did with my edit is I chopped to bits all of the leads lines and took away all of their not all, but like most of their poetry, the flowery stuff that doesn't advance their conversation. I made their conversations much snappier, and then I pretty much left all of the, like, gentlemen and lords and whatever lines so that we get the character actions, and then we get the commentary on it later. So we're reminded of or informed on what happened, and it's kind of it feels like to most people who would edit Shakespeare, it feels like a backwards way to do things because you wanna, like, trim the fat,
Mhm.
and the fat always ends up being extra characters, which they're there for a reason.
Right. Like, yes, logically it makes sense. And I, once again, from my limited understanding, I feel like certain parts of Romeo and Juliet, you have things that could have been trimmed that were more ensemble that didn't detract from your understanding of the story. But with something like this that's got so many plot lines going,
Right.
like it's a very different animal in that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a scene in Romeo and Juliet where they find Juliet, they think she's dead, and then, like, there's a scene with musicians who were supposed to play the wedding, and the nurse comes in and is like or one of the servants comes in and is like, "Whoop, gotta go, she's dead." And they're like, "What? Like, are we gonna get paid?" Like, it's like it's supposed to be a comedy scene, and it really, like, weirds out the mood. Like, 100% cut that shit. If you leave the musicians in your Romeo and Juliet, I will judge you. Um, but, like,
Are you even trying?
are
Come
you even
on.
trying? Um, but yeah, a lot of that is, like, extra stuff that we don't really need to see. And the mark of a good editor is knowing the difference
Yeah.
between that a scene like that and a scene like in a lot of the ones in Cymbeline that really make it possible for the audience to follow along.
So I think it was Macbeth, the last one that we did. But specifically remember you talking about how this is a scene that's always cut because it doesn't necessarily forward the plot or anything, but it's just this beautiful visual scene. It was the horses out of the barn and
Mm.
all of that. But it like that's an interesting thing to me because yes, like I didn't need it to understand what was going on in the rest of the play, but so I could understand for time cutting it for that. But still a really cool scene. So again, you weighing what you want to convey, whether you want to be able to have all of that visual or if you want to
Right.
take that out so the audience isn't having too much.
Yeah, and sometimes it's also a matter of, like, your staging because the scene before that horse scene, Macbeth is not king, and the scene after it, he is king. So if you want a whole, like, set costume vibe change for Macbeth, you probably have to keep more of that in because otherwise he doesn't have time to
Mhm.
change or he doesn't have time,
Right.
like, um I was talking on Protest Too Much this week with my guest, and we were talking about Macbeth and the scene between Malcolm and Macduff, and like it's a scene that's like 20 minutes long, and it's so obnoxious. Like it only needs to be two. It has to be in there, but it really only has to be like max 2 minutes. But it just goes on forever. And my guest was like, I like to imagine this as the actor playing Macbeth needed a break. He needed a little nap, and he was like they were like, "Oh, we can't wake Burbage up. You gotta keep riffing on this scene, Malcolm and Macduff. You gotta keep going until we can wake Burbage up." And he just, like, needed a little nap in the middle of the
Oh
play.
my gosh, that's too funny.
But, like, they're right that there are more reasons for some scenes than just plot or just characterization. Sometimes it's a costume change. Sometimes it's Macbeth needs a break. And so I think that's interesting as well, and something that, like, when you're looking at film adaptations, you really don't have to think about, um, and you have to think about other scenes in different ways too. Yeah, it's just like a because like, in a film, 100% would keep that horse eating horses scene.
Oh yeah. Cause
In
just
a play?
and as a like as a montage, as a like with the extreme music, like what a powerful visual.
Yeah.
But like you said, if you can't accomplish that same weight in your stage production, either because of budget constraints or just human constraints, like yeah, I feel like cutting it for the sake of that makes a lot more sense. That's really interesting.
Mhm. Yeah. God, your drawing of that was so cool.
That one was fun. That
Yeah.
I say that every time. They're all fun. I
Yeah.
I love but yeah, it was neat because it was something very different. It was much more fluid and I'm sure there's a word. I'm
Words are
words
hard.
words are so hard.
Words are hard, especially today. There's something about, like, I don't know, today.
Sundays. Yeah, just like Sundays are something.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Yep, yep, yep.
I keep getting I was talking about this last night. We got home and there was an Amazon box, and I was like, "I don't know what this is." Like, I have this I don't know if you experience this, but, like, I will order something, and I will put it on my little spreadsheet, my little budget tracker spreadsheet, and then immediately forget it.
Mhm.
And, like, it's all for the show. So, like, I'm keeping, like, excellent track of everything that I've ordered. Um, but when a box comes, I'm like, "What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Who ordered more shit?"
But also, because Amazon has gotten weird with their time frames, like it's not a guaranteed 2 days later. Like it could be a week or something. But also, as soon as it is checked off and tallied in all of its appropriate places. It is no longer on the to-do list in my
No
brain.
object permanence.
No,
I
and
have
it's got
none.
no. I've gotten so much worse. There are times where I'm just like, I don't even know. I'm just gonna stand in this space and look at stuff because I don't know.
Yep. Yep. I thought like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I was like, I'm so set for Cymbeline. I'm not gonna need to do anything. Like, that was a lie.
Narrator, she was in fact not set.
I was not set. There are just so many things to think about.
Yeah. That's like this is for many reasons, but this is part of why like the way that you run this and what you do, like it is so incredible to me because of all of the moving parts, because of all of the things to think about and consider. And you don't have, you know, the length of time to there's the
Problem
word.
solve.
Yeah, and like you don't get a dress rehearsal like a week beforehand to realize like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot this thing. Oh, there's a word and I cannot think of it. This is gonna make me crazy today.
That's fine.
But yeah, like that's I know how much so for our dance shows, you know, we learn all the dancing, we learn the spacing, we learn the flow of all of it for the story ballet. But we don't get to start moving our props and doing scene changes until the Thursday before. So we have dress rehearsals Thursday, Friday, and then we perform Saturday, Sunday. So you get 2 days to learn everything about how heavy this prop is, where it goes on the floor, how much transition time you get before you then have to dance. Like,
Yes.
and so there's there because we pantomime, like we practice, like if you when I walk onto place for this dance, I have to bring out this piece. So for the most recent one, when we did Little Mermaid, like anytime I was coming on stage, it was because we were going to be in the Sea Witch's grotto, so I brought out my prop associated with that, and like that made sense. But then at the end of at the end of the 6-minute dance, when there's a big storm and we have to take all those props off, I also now have to remember, like, okay, in addition to turning and doing all that, I have to grab this thing and take it off with me. But it, like, still, we have 2 days to figure that out. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, prop management is no joke.
It's no joke.
And like, we don't have a lot of sets or props. We have 2 benches and a box. Fuck. Sorry.
Did you think of something else?
Yeah.
Okay. Getting there. I'm getting somewhere with this. I'm excited. Brain juices are flowing.
Yeah, there is a scene where Mike comes out of a trunk, like a luggage trunk, because he is spying on Imogen while she is asleep in her bedroom. And he's like, "Oh man, I forgot I have this big thing of treasure. Could I keep it in your room for safety?" And she's like, "Yeah, of course." And so then he pops out of it like, "Whoop, surprise." But she's asleep and doesn't know.
So, does it spoil anything if you tell me who Mike is playing?
He is playing Giacomo.
Okay.
The ding dong Italian.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It's like I've gone on my villain rant before. Cymbeline is weird because there's no true villain in it. Everyone is just so selfish that they cause horrible things to happen.
Oh, it's like a zombie movie where, like, yes, the zombies are the bad guys, but it was actually humanity that was evil all along, and you're like, oh, got us again.
Yeah, honestly,
we're the worst.
Yes, that's pretty much exactly what it is, because the queen wants her son to be king, to secure her own place, and so she pushes him to woo Imogen, which causes him to, run away to try and like kill Posthumous. It's like all these things working that nobody is really thinking about the bigger picture. They're just thinking about themselves. And that's what causes all of the drama.
These guys are sick over here. Okay.
The drama-ramas. All right. Cool. But yeah, the high school that I used to work at had a couple trunks, like person-sized trunks.
Nice.
And so we got to go pick that up. And of course, it won't fit in my car. So good thing Mike just got a new car.
Woo! Oh, did he actually get it already?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. That's exciting.
It's amazing.
Is he losing his mind?
I think he's pretty excited about it. Yeah, he's pretty excited about it. It's nice. I like it. I'm a fan. Yeah. I love VWs. We all know that. But it's nice to have, like, I don't know. It's just a nice car.
Yeah.
New cars are fun.
Cars are fun.
New to you cars. So.
Yes.
All right. This looks like a lot of panels.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Is doing stuff. Oh,
good.
Swan, you know, I'm excited. Oh god.
I wanted to ask, like, well, I did and I did, because, like, if you were waiting on stuff to come in, like, that's the worst kind of waiting. But, like, if stuff was ready and, like, you're just moments away from doing it, then that's really fun.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. There's a lot. It's between the stuff that I'm ordering for Cymbeline and the stuff that he's ordering for the car. Like, we just have so many boxes.
I also just love, like, not that he's getting his parts through Amazon, but, like, Amazon trying to figure out something to recommend to you because of everything you've been ordering. And it's like, I don't know the crossover between these projects.
No, so he orders everything on, like, car part websites, or like resale, like car communities that people like sell things. So he's not muddying up the Amazon algorithm, which honestly, like, I ordered a inflatable headless body and a child's bow and arrow and ghost cloaks. So, like, Amazon doesn't know what the hell to do with me either. And a mannequin head, yeah. Because Cloten gets his head cut off.
Oh yeah.
And I found a hairdressing head.
Nice.
So that, like, for cosmetology, like, you can practice on, like, real hair or whatever.
Yeah.
And our Cloten has, like, this beautiful long hair. And so this head, like, I'm so excited about this stupid head. Oh, Mike brought it for a show and tell.
Oh my gosh. That's
so
amazing.
Like, when Gadarius, like, holds it up, like, the head of Cloten, son of the king, we're gonna put Cloten's little crown on it.
Oh my gosh. Like, I love the hair movement though. It's so good.
Right? And, like, it's nice because it's, like, it's clearly human, like, yeah, like, it looks like a human head.
Yeah.
And if we don't turn it around to see, like, all the lipstick and makeup on it,
it's blood. It's just blood.
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
Oh my gosh. Yes, the hair
got, like, a nice handle.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so fun.
Be gentle.
This is how it's gonna be done.
No.
Why not?
I mean, I guess. I was thinking because it's such an easy, like, handhold around the neck.
That's not how you would hold a human head when you've cut it off a body.
Is it not?
No, you would grab it by the hair.
Not that kind of show, Mike.
I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to talk to Leia about how. Like that?
I think if you shoot for more like the back middle part of it, you'll still have hair falling on either side.
Oh.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Oh my god. Amazing.
I love it.
Yeah, I am excited. Let me sit and watch me. Hero had thoughts.
Uh-oh.
Hero went up and kissed its little face.
Oh my god.
And then just like sat and stared at it. Poor little angel.
No,
Poor little
baby.
angel dog. Yeah. God, that's so funny. It never would have occurred to me to hold it by the hair. I don't know. I'm not experienced in the art of decapitation. How much Twitch where this is not real. Don't listen to us.
This is all for the stage. This is
Yeah. It's the theater.
It's
the theater, darling.
Yes.
But yeah, so my Amazon cart is messed up enough on its own, as you can tell.
Don't blame us. Blame Shakespeare.
Yeah, it's Shakespeare's fault. Honestly, that's most things in my life. Blame it on Shakespeare.
Okay.
What? Did you just put like a...
I just lowered the opacity.
Oh.
Yep. So, it's behind. Hang on. It's behind my little cartoon head. So, take that away. See? Yeah. Okay. So you can see my layer panel here on the side.
Yep.
Boop, 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 boop. So I have my drawing layer, which I'm just sketching. But then what I like to do, this is kind of my digital version of having done it traditionally, where you would, if you were going to ink right on it, you would just kind of erase some of it and then ink over top of it. So the darker part that you could see better was the inks. With this is, I am just lowering it down so it's nice and sketchy. So as I go back over it with my darker color, I can take all of those crazy sketch lines and just figure out which final lines I want to keep.
Oh. Yeah, I guess like, I mean, it makes total sense, right? But like, it's a really cool way. Technology is pretty cool for drawing,
Technology
huh?
is really cool. Yeah, like some of the stuff I can do is just really neat.
Yeah. God, that's awesome.
Yeah. And this is, so when I'm working traditionally, if I had the opportunity to like do mock-ups, so do thumbnails in pencil, scan it in, clean it up on the computer, and then like print it back out on a big sheet and then like ink on that, that'd be really cool. I
Yeah.
don't have a printer, so that's challenging on its own. But for me, I kind of work around this with, if you ever see in my sketchbook, you'll see me sketch in a cold erase colored pencil first. So they're the animation pencils.
What does cold erase mean?
It's COL erase.
Oh.
It's just the brand. They're part of Prisma Color. They are, so whereas like when you color with a colored pencil and then you try and erase it doesn't really erase. These are specifically meant to erase like a pencil, but they're all different colors. What's nice in the digital age is I can then go over that in ink or in a darker lead pencil. And if I scan it in or take a picture, bring it into my digital art program, I can actually go in and I can tell the program to just delete all the color layer or even like a specific color channel. So like, okay, any blue that's in this picture, there's no more blue in it. So now without having to go in and actually physically erase digitally, all that stuff, it just takes out that whole under sketch layer.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's always how my brain has worked, because it was what like the training in animation taught me to do. And I've taken that to comics. And it lets me, on some things, it lets me jump right from a really rough sketch like you're looking at here to almost finished line art without having to do a whole nother layer of cleanup and then finished.
That's
So,
really cool.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes I'm not that good.
No, I mean, I think it's like just what you can. Okay, so like general art question.
Mhm.
Um, where does like tracing sit? Like if it's like someone else's work, like you're taking a picture and then like you trace it and make it your own. Like is that like a training skill? Is it like teaching your hands how to like is it a helpful thing to get the like fine motor skill repetition? Is that something that people do?
Yes. So multi-part answer. Yes. Me personally, my stance on it, and I think it comes from being an educator, is there are so many ways that you can learn things. And as long as you're being honest about where you learned the thing from, there's
Mhm.
no harm in it. So when I was growing up, I would frequently take tracing paper and trace over top of art that I liked because the state that I was at that point in development, I didn't understand. I was like, I don't know how you made this so good.
Right.
I can't conceptualize it. I don't have the brain power to do that. So there is a straight up just motor skill of being able to pull a line like this, draw an eye like this. And I think that's incredibly valuable. I still have printouts that I let my students draw from in class, and predictably every time they will trace them and try and hide it from me. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay
Yeah.
to trace it. I like that you like this reference enough to want to have it as a good piece in your sketchbook. What I then try to make them do, and always preface it with, for this hour you're with me, I'm going to make you do the hard thing that you don't like. For the
Yes.
however many other hours you're not in class with me, you can draw however you want and I won't know. But here's how you can take that, break it down into its simple forms, and construct the same thing without needing to trace it. So the evolution for me is, yep, straight up start tracing stuff. Just start tracing stuff to see how it feels. I imagine it's similar to like the first time you swing a baseball bat, or then you're told how to swing a bat. Like, you don't know, you can imagine. It was Chasing Amy. And so like once you have felt it once, you're like, okay, now I can start to truly understand these things that people are telling me. From there, what I highly recommend is always finding reference. 1000% never stop finding reference, because the idea that you would know how to draw everything exactly as it is insanity. And you
Yeah.
shouldn't have to. I still look up. I'm like, how does this, if you're standing like this, how does this arm work? Like, I don't know. Or I will pose for myself and take a
Yeah.
picture. I think the evolution of tracing is moving from just literally taking like a photo in and drawing over it to looking at a photo or looking at someone else's art and drawing it yourself. So it's like a still life or a
Yeah.
model drawing. Like, so yes, you are still absolutely using somebody else's piece, but you are doing it with your own hand. Where that gets tricky then is when you're just straight up copying it and be like, well, I drew it, so it's my art.
Right.
Like, yes, but
Right.
so as a way to learn, 1000,000%. I will often for like clothing folds or stuff like that, I will bring in a picture and trace over it, just because like the way that fabric drapes is
Yeah.
weird to conceptualize and try and draw, but tracing it, like, okay. And then because of the art that I do, because I'm not making hyper realistic paintings or sketches, how can I then simplify this into the most readable art in the fewest lines to convey
Mhm.
exactly what I want in a very clear way? And that's, for me, that's always been the exciting part of comics and animation. Of, I don't have the benefit of just adding more lines, of adding more shading. Like, I have to be able to show this in just a line art, and how can I make that the most clear? Um,
Yeah.
so, so yeah, I think it's an incredible tool. I think continuing to learn and grow and find inspiration. I mean, the number of Pinterest boards I have just for different projects. You know, there was one where I was going to have to draw a car because the two main characters were spending time in a car. So I have I did it. I did it. I hated myself for it, but I did it. But I was like, I don't know. Like, and I'm going to literally go over and physically trace this car because cars are weird. Like, it's never something that I draw. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But as I started to get more comfortable with it, then I'm like, okay, I don't just have to rely on the specific angle that this picture was taken from. Now I can kind of start to change it and understand how the components work together.
Yeah. Cool.
So
I was just curious because that was something that, like, you know, I was just curious.
I think, unfortunately, much like many things, people being crummy about it, there is. And I mean, there was I always forget his name. I think it's Rob something. There was a guy at Comic-Con who for many years had been tracing very famous people's artwork and making paintings of it, but completely selling them as his own. And it was just like, it's not shocking, but it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And if you know, like, I know where this panel came from. And I think that's been an interesting, for good and bad, like, policing, because if you're sharing your work out in public now, it's not just the 5,000 people you see at a Comic-Con. If you're posting it online, you have the possibility of having all of these eyes that could have consumed the thing you stole it from and will call you out on it. So not that I was motivated to steal before, but I'm like, especially not now. Like, no, because someone will know, someone will see it and someone will know. And it's not worth it to me. The immediate return on getting money for it is not worth the destruction of my career.
Like, exactly.
And reputation, like we were talking about online, like, it's not worth it. I need my brand to represent me and I need it to be trustworthy. And if it's not, then I have lost a lot more. So.
Yeah. I know this will relate to you because I feel like your brain works in a similar way, but you just said the word reputation, and it's the second time in 2 days. Mike has a line in Cymbeline that has the word reputation in it, and we were running lines yesterday, and, like, there's a speech in Othello, and Cassio says reputation, my reputation, 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 reputation. And, like, anytime someone says that one single word, it's all that plays back in my head for the rest of the conversation is this, like, Cassio screaming reputation. And, like, it's such a like, and, like, it happens in some other things too, obviously, with, like, movie and TV references, and, like, I'm sure, like, music and all of that hit for you as well, but, like, why
that's
are
at the
our
end of
brains
the
like
why are you stuck on this thing? And it's terrible
it's just a
because
normal word.
I have maybe the internet can help me solve it. I have in my head this tiny little quote from a movie, I think from a movie, but I can hear it, but it's such a common phrase that I have no idea how to search it, how to find it. But it's that same, like, it's just the repetition. It's a female character saying, "But you're lying," and I can hear it. I don't know what it's from, but it just lives there, playing on repeat forever and ever. So, the line from Lilo and Stitch where he's like, "It's fish," pops into my head on the regular.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we need no. All right,
Nope.
great,
But we did. Our brain gave it to us anyway. Yeah.
That one's just for free. That one's for you. Oh, thanks.
Yep. And so every time I feel like every time someone says reputation, I have to, like, tamp down that part of my brain that's just, like, screaming Shakespeare at me.
I love it so much. Yeah, some days the intrusive thoughts win and I just scream things because I can't stop myself. Like not that many weeks ago, for almost the last weeks of class, where a kid was showing me their character designs and I was like, "Oh, I really like this one." And he's like, "Yeah, he's the bad guy," and blah blah. And I was like, "But if bad, then why hot?" And I'm like, "No, there was no thought. There was no thought between that idea in my head and it falling out of my face." And thank goodness the class already liked me, because I'm like, "Why are you this way? Why can't you just be normal?"
Oh, what a boring life that would be.
It would. It would be. Yep.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm never going to get enough sleep again
Mm.
in my whole life. I slept until 10:30 today.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it
should
actually
have
like
been.
through the night?
Yeah. Slept like a rock
Ah,
last night.
good.
It was great, but I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm already tired.
I feel like in my previous years, I could just make up for lack of sleep throughout the week with one good weekend sleep. It doesn't work that way anymore.
Sure doesn't.
That's cumulative, and that's some bullshit.
Yeah. It really like builds up, and it's like having so much to do also. Just I can't wait till June. I'm so excited for June.
Yeah, the number of memes I see where they're just like, keep saying, I just got to get through this week and then it'll calm down a little bit. And you just say that for the rest of your life until you die. And I'm like, why you got to call me out so directly?
I know. Mike's in chat. I'm sure he's typing everything that we have to do in June.
So
I don't want to hear it.
This is a stupid question because I just don't know soccer stuff. When does the soccer season for Austin FC run?
Wait. What 4 shows? Also, your nephew's wedding. Oh, do you mean like in addition? Oh, yeah. 4 shows, yeah.
I thought you meant performances. I was like, what other show are you in?
Me too.
You maniacs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No,
those
the normal shows, yeah.
Those I'm already accounted for. Like,
Yeah. It's just like the extra stuff. Like, I mean, we went straight from Winter's Tale to I was in a wedding. So we had the bachelorette weekend and the wedding the week after. And then we have this weekend, quote unquote, off. And then the next weekend is the show. So I just feel like at least like I won't. No, I don't know. I also want to like sneak a New York trip in to see Sweeney Todd before I die of sadness that I haven't seen Sweeney Todd yet. What I wanted to do, what I was researching, was Austin to New York, see Sweeney Todd, New York to London, see Romeo and Juliet, with Tahib Jamal in it, and then back to Austin. But I don't think that's gonna fit in our June schedule. Something about it makes me think it might not work. But if I don't do this, then I like have to I have to get to London to see David Tennant in Macbeth in December or January. Cuz that I've been begging for my whole life and I will be very sad to miss it.
Yeah, that has to happen.
Yeah. So I don't know. On top of all the other things, June feels like a slow month. Who knows?
I think too. So what, you rehearsed Winter's Tale for 3 months, 4 months?
3.
So you had that runs right into
2.5,
Cymbeline.
yeah.
So I feel like not having that type of thing is a like, oh, it's not as busy because I'm not also doing all of that.
Right.
But
Right. That's the hope and the goal. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, Swan, where have you taken us?
so I took a thing that you said literally.
Fairy tale?
And nope, charcuterie board. So they are handsome gentlemen winemakers.
Oh my God.
So
Oh, I
this is
see the grapes.
Yep. So this is her sneaking through the vineyard, and coming up, and they have, so instead of a cave, it's a little like picnic that they had set up for themselves. I also just
Yes.
recently rewatched the Keanu Reeves something in the clouds, A Walk in the Clouds, which is we will talk more. But it's a wine movie, in the most broad sense. So I was like, okay, so how can we be ridiculous? So then it's them coming and yelling at her because she ate, food off of their table and everything, and then them sharing a drink at the end. So that was my like, how do I get them to still be sexy and have a very visual, universal like camaraderie gesture?
Yes. What is it like inside your brain?
As we determined, it's chaos, but once in a while, like,
That's so fun.
so it's like,
What a
okay, like
great
farmers, like how do I incorporate farmers? How do I get that part of it, kind of in there? But
Yeah, I love that. I am I'm so into that, and I think it's such a perfect, like yeah, sneaking into a little setup and, like, the very visual, 'cause that is something that, like, the translation between art and script is, like, without words, how can you really show this camaraderie, and how can you show the acceptance and, like, the family welcoming?
mhm.
And there are very few things that do that better than, like, sharing a glass of wine over whatever, like,
Yeah.
it's a super clear, uh, display of welcoming, and I think that's a really cool way to do it. Look how happy they are.
I just I kind of love them. I part of it is how you describe them to me, but
Mhm.
I just love them.
Yeah, they are the best little wholesome boys. They're so fun, and, like, it's so rare for a character in Shakespeare to be, like, good, like,
Yeah.
just good, not complicated, just sweet and wholesome. It's rare for men in Shakespeare, I should say, to be that.
Yeah.
Um, and they have emotions and they communicate with each other and their fake dad, and they, like, talk through things and process things and have this, like, understanding of themselves in the world that is so rare in anything, I guess, especially Shakespeare, though.
Yeah. Well, and I really liked the way you were describing so Imogen, and the conflict of believing somebody who told her something when everything else that she's known has been all like, but they'll lie. And like just
Mhm.
the interesting thing of nature versus nurture of, these two boys who were taken away from all of that, but because they were raised by the person who kidnapped them, like, do they still turn out cruel and deceitful words?
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
or
no.
or are you, because you're removed from court, do you get to grow up away from that? Like, that's a really interesting way to play with character, and I like it.
Well, and it's part of it's like a big theme in the dialogue because every time, like, their first scene, they come out and they're, whining about having to go hunting, like, we have seen nothing. You have had all these experiences because, like, Belarius says, that I used to be in King Cymbeline's court and he banished me. He leaves out the part that he stole them as babies, but, like, I was banished for lies, and that world isn't good. What's good is the earth and what we can get from it. And the boys are like, "Oh, but it's so boring here. We've literally done nothing. We want adventure in the great wide somewhere." They want it more than they can tell.
But I want to go to
And
Tashi Station and work on power converters.
and they want, like, that's yeah, they want more.
Yeah.
And um Belarius is like, "Damn." Like, the nature of their princely uh personalities, like the fact that they want to do more and be more and see the world and uh have these experiences, like, that they're so brave and they're so noble. That's natural born prince part of them,
Mm-hmm.
but they've come up in this really wholesome way that isn't tainted by Cymbeline as an angry king, giving them, muddying up their wholesomeness. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like the nature versus nurture part of it is a big discussion around them, and how they do show that nature even in such a different setting.
Yeah.
And then of course, like, we have Imogen, who has grown up in the court and still manages to like be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though.
And I am sure that there is a reason it's reminding me of this, but it feels a bit like, oh my gosh, literally start the sentence and then forget the thing that I wanted to say. Stardust. There we go. And the backbiting of the 7 or the 6 brothers, and like that, and the fact that the king is literally encouraging this type of like, I'm going to reward you for killing each other to get to my throne. And the way that Tristan is raised away from all of that, but still has, the capacity to rule and that kind of thing. Like, knowing the amount of reading and research that Neil Gaiman does, I'm sure that like facets of that are part of it, but it's just neat.
Yeah. I really love that book. It's so, and the movie was so good.
Yes.
Weird like version of or like weird I guess example of like a book and a movie existing so separately from each other, because it's the same story, but like the movie is so different from the book.
Yeah.
And good in its own right.
Yes.
Like it is an excellent movie and it is an excellent book, and they have honestly very little to do with each other sometimes, but
yeah. But it's still it's my favorite one to reference as far as a book adaptation that I loved, that was not fully faithful, but was faithful to
the spirit of it.
Yes, exactly. Like, yeah, like I could see Captain Shakespeare existing in the book.
Yeah.
I don't need him to. I'm happy that he just lives on the screen, but he fits, and the mood of it fits. And yeah, it was such a surprise because I saw the movie first and then read the book. Because I didn't know it was a book.
Sure.
So, but what a wonderful reward of like, oh, this is so different, but still so fun. And
yeah. I read the book first and then saw the movie, but it's as good the other way too, like it's yeah, it's a wild example of that, because I don't think that happens a lot. I think that it's either one or the other. Like Princess Bride, better movie than it is a book.
Yep.
The Magicians, way better TV show than it was a book. Most other things, way better book than they are a movie.
Yeah.
But
even something I would say like Harry Potter that I thought were very enjoyable movies, I still felt there was many times where it missed parts of the books that I loved, or it just didn't land the same way. Still an enjoyable movie, but just not.
I never really got into the movies because I was like the books every summer kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were fine.
Yeah. It's one where I really like, I don't catch myself excited to go back and rewatch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think most of them I've only like watched once.
Especially the last one. I didn't watch it. Except for the animation sequence about the brothers. That I've watched a number of times.
Oh, sure.
Because I loved that.
Yeah, I forgot that they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just there was my sister had a Harry Potter themed wedding. And so my parents were trying to like, because like my mom had read the books. We listened to them in audiobook in the car
Right.
and stuff.
Which,
But my dad had no knowledge of them really. And
interesting.
so I went down for Christmas one year and I marathoned the movies with my parents. And it was so funny to like see the characters that my dad latched on to. Dobby obviously was
Yeah.
like his mood, his entire personality for weeks. But then when they were done, he was like, "Is there more? Are there any others? Like
Aw.
any other?" So we watched the Percy Jackson movie
Ooh, yeah.
because talk about a terrible adaptation of a great series.
So disappointed.
But he loved it.
Because the book is so fun.
Yeah.
And
But
it's stupid fun. Like, and I just, because it's Greek mythology, it should be stupid fun. The Greeks were
yes.
insane and stupid sometimes.
Yes. But the movie standalone, without any knowledge of the book, my dad loved it way better than any Harry Potter movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that was really funny to see because then I'm like, oh, I wish it were better. Or like, I wish that there were more because he was like so into it. And the Percy
Yeah.
Jackson series, like, I think Rick Riordan is the best. He's incredible. He writes such good stories. And then also with his whole Rick Riordan Presents series, like he basically he wrote the Percy Jackson series, and then he wrote another series that's based on Egyptian mythology. And some readers were like, "Hey, this story was really good, but it would be better if we were reading them from like an Egyptian author or from someone like who like has experience in this culture." And he said, "You know what? You're right." And so he created this whole print that's called Rick Riordan Presents, and he basically commissions or hires or whatever it is, but authors to write these modern adaptations of their cultural mythology. So it's own voice stories, but he's publishing them. So he's capitalizing on his name and his popularity and the fact that anyone's going to buy a Rick Riordan book, right? They might not buy a book by an author they've never heard of. An author they've never heard of might not even get published.
Right.
But he has created this entire press for own voice authors to write their mythology in the same kind of Percy Jackson way.
That's amazing.
It's so cool.
Again,
Like
literally the best use of like, hey, I hear you. This is smart. Let me do better. And let me, make a space for other voices.
Yep. Hey, you're right. And here's like, he's so cool. He's just so much better than so many other authors.
I was
Because
gonna say, the author of the other series that we mentioned right before that.
I know, but like even like beyond that.
Yeah.
Like for someone with that much popularity to really just like recognize that he doesn't have to keep like, and he can keep writing books and he does, but like there's no hint of ego.
Mhm.
And I think that's what's really cool about him.
Yeah.
So,
and I feel like with that, like, with working with other people, like if you do learn about those things, like you could take the new knowledge and still write things in universe, but with a more educated eye for it.
yeah, it's just pretty cool.
That's really cool. That's very cool. I did not know about that. So,
what's up, Kurt?
Hey, Kurt.
How's your Sunday? Welcome to Sleepy Fest.
Mhm.
I like in these. Hell yeah, Kurt, that's nice.
Yay.
I like in this image that like I can really see when I mentioned that one of them is a little bit more of like a poetic and one of them is a little bit more of like
Yay!
I can really see that just
Good.
in like the slightest mouth and eyebrow shape.
That's exactly what I was going for. So yay.
That's so fun. It's like, and like it's just the direction of their eyes. like that one of them is kind of that like looking straight forward, and the other one is kind of like up a little bit. Everything about it's so crazy to me. Like 2 features. And I know that that's the whole point of like your face.
Yeah, but it's hard. I mean, you talk about like the acting part of it, and you can see really talented actors who can do so much with these subtle little changes on their faces. I'll say more movie or TV, whereas,
Yeah.
on stage you have to be bigger so that everybody can see you. But like that's incredible. So to try and capture that without the benefit of movement, like it's
Yeah.
one of my favorite challenges in this. And I love to draw people emoting
Yeah.
because it is consistently fascinating to me.
No, I think that's really cool and how like just instantly clear it is. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Their sweet little faces. And then like the panel right before it with Imogen just like
Oh shit.
oh shit.
I love the idea of like you've got the one who like they both come in and like they're both mad at the start, but then you have the one who's like starting to soften on it, and the other one just like, but no, we're mad. And he's like, but are we? Are we mad? I think we're okay.
Do we have to be mad?
But there's
What if we were just friends instead?
Yeah, but there's there's still food. We can still have food.
Yeah. All right, Swan. Speaking of food.
Speaking of food, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. I like it.
No,
I
it's
like
really
where we got
sweet.
to.
I'm excited for this. I think it's a really cool it has that same pastoral vibe with the vineyard. Like it has the very like there's so much about them that feels very earthy. That feels very grounded, and there's something about being in nature that really reinforces that.
Yeah.
And so to take it to this place, I think was really like a really smart choice as always.
Yay!
Cool as hell.
Well, it's exciting. I mean, I'm always thrilled when like it happens right away and I immediately have a thought, but it can be really fun when I'm just like, oh, I have no thoughts. I don't know. And then find one that ends up like almost it reinforces like, oh, this could work because of this and this and this. So
Yeah,
it's
and then it's
nice.
like a domino effect of everything popping into place.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for hanging out with us.
This is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Again, as we talked about June, we might be back. We'll see. We'll see if we make it.
Yeah, turn those Twitter alerts on. And
yeah. Yes. But yeah, thank you everyone.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Swan, thanks for drawing this rad ass scene.
Yay! Thanks for giving me a rad ass scene.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.